Believe it or not, you can love what you do so very much and also hate it so very much and get burned out. That's been me for the past year and a half, maybe even 2 years without realizing it. And if you're dealing with burnout, whether you're in real estate, content creation, or entrepreneurship, whatever it may be, by the end of this video, I hope to have put to words how you're feeling and given you a few solutions on how to overcome burnout. I promise you there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but in order to get to the end of the tunnel, you have to sit down and diagnose why you're burned out to begin with. And by the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm Rob Abasolo. I'm an Airbnb content creator. I've got a pretty large real estate portfolio. I've got a few other businesses ranging from Host Camp, my education company where I teach people how to Airbnb. I've got Funkit Interiors, an interior design company that specializes in short-term rentals. I've got a few other businesses in the world of Airbnb, so I can tell you I've been around the block a time or two when it comes to burnout, whether it was real estate or just general business building in general. General business building in general. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so let's jump into it. But first, this is not a sustainable way to do this, so give me 1 second. Okay, so I wanna walk you through the most common reasons that people get burned out. Okay, these are things that I have either gone through or am actively going through. And you know what, do me a favor, if any of these hit home, let me know in the comments down below and say, yo, you nailed it. That's exactly how I'm feeling because I need validation, apparently. Maybe that's why I'm burned out, not enough validation. All right, let's hop into number one here. I actually think that this is the biggest reason for burnout, and I didn't mean to put the best one first, but all the other ones are good, especially the last one. Number one is no hobbies. I didn't have any hobbies up until recently. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but allow me to explain. See, when I got into Airbnb, that was my hobby. It was my side hustle. It was the thing that I was so passionate about because I was making $1,000 to $2,000 a month. And I was like, oh my God, like it's all I wanted to talk about with anyone who would just lend me their ears for like 30 seconds. I'd be like, Airbnb, can you believe it? It's so crazy. I make $1,000 a month. And then I started YouTubing, and for the first 6 months, it was like crickets. I didn't have many subscribers. I didn't have many views, but I was so passionate about it. And then bam, my channel blew up out of nowhere. And about 9-12 months later, I quit my full-time 9-to-5 job and became a full-time YouTuber and Airbnb host. And my dreams came true. Awesome. Right? Well, the problem is that my side hustles became my full-time job, meaning that the passion and kind of the experimentation and the kind of the new energy about it was gone. And I had to start making business decisions and decisions about how I operated those things because my livelihood depended on it. My family depended on it, and it was no longer a hobby. It was just my job. The problem is that I never actually replaced my passionate side gig hobbies with something else. I just allowed them to become my full-time job when I became a full-time real estate investor and content creator. And this is what I think happens to most people, both in business building and in content creation and in real estate. The moment you become elite enough to quit your job and go at it full-time, that's an amazing thing. But in becoming full-time, we never stop to kind of replenish that hobby, that kid-like experimentation where we're just doing stuff for the fun of it, not for the money necessarily. So go find a hobby. I guarantee you that by doing this, most people would solve the majority of the burnout that they're feeling. Number two, I had no structure or routine. Now, I hate structure and routine. I'm an ADHD individual, meaning I do not like logistics, I do not like routines, I do not like being told what to do, I do not like formality. I like to live this loosey-goosey life. But the problem is that when you're an entrepreneur with multiple companies, with dozens of people, depending on your strategy, on your answers, on your decisions, you can't do that. You cannot live a loosey-goosey life. That is a term, right? Loosey-goosey? It is, I know. I was just kind of like living this life that had like no structure, and I would kind of just have meetings and like I didn't plan out my days, and I would let people call me into meetings and I'd be like, yeah, what do you need? And I thought that that was like fine until I just realized that at the end of every single day, I got nothing done because I wasn't actually blocking out time to do things that were important or critical to both my mental health and to the health of my businesses. And so now I have forced a bit of a routine. Like the first thing I do when I drop off my kids is I come home and I work out. It's a little unproductive because I hate not just starting my day right out the gate, but being able to start my day with some kind of workout or physical activity has just helped me stay mentally clear. And now I have guardrails on when I'll answer the phone, when I'll reply to people. Sometimes I don't reply to people for 4 hours. And you know what? that's fine. So the lesson here is block out your time, have some sort of plan for your daily routine, and say no to meetings that disrupt that plan, unless they are crucial to the development of your business. 3, I scaled too leanly. What this means is I refused to hire help for so long because I fell into the typical arrogant entrepreneur psychology that no one is better at my job than me. For a long time, I did believe that. So I just never hired anyone because I was like, well, they're just not gonna do it better than me, so why would I spend money on someone else? That is a very bad way to think about it. Because the truth is, really, to run a pretty good business, you don't need someone to be as good as you just need someone to be pretty close. But if they're coachable and you can mentor them and grow them a bit, it is actually feasible that maybe one day they can be as good as you, if not better, because they are focusing on one specific skill. And here was a really big mindset shift for me that changed everything. When I would hire someone, I would see that as money lost, like I needed to spend money to hire someone. And what I didn't realize is that it's not about spending money and losing money to hire someone. You should really be looking at every hire you make as a moneymaker. Every position should theoretically help you make more money, not cost you money. Which brings me to number 4, big reason that I got burned out and why I see a lot of people getting burned out: hiring incorrectly. I was not good at hiring for a long time. I'm actually finally getting to a point where I think I've developed the skill on how to hire A+ talent. But one of the things that I realized is that I would take too many chances on people. And I would say, you know what? They're not perfect. They checked some of the boxes. Let's see how it goes. But it never went the way that I wanted it to, because the truth is, if you're kind of iffy on someone, they're probably not gonna pan out. But if you know at the gate that they're amazing and you're like super relieved by the idea of hiring them, then you've probably made the correct hire. For me, I kind of have a new rule when I hire, and it is Rockstars only, A+ talent only. If someone is not smarter or more skilled than me at a certain thing, I just won't hire them. Puts me in a bit of a bind because I do believe in hiring juniors and I do believe in fostering talent and all that good stuff as someone that worked in an ad agency. But the problem is that right now, I feel like I'm in startup mode at all times, and my companies are so high paced, like you really have to keep up. And so for me, I'm just not in a phase where I can like grow and mentor someone. I need to feel like someone is coming in to grow and mentor me. This has changed everything for me because the last couple of hires that I've made have been significantly more skilled than me at the things that I thought I was skilled at. And now it requires so much less of my time to manage them, to correct their mistakes. And I just feel so freaking relieved, and yet it costs me more money. But those team members have actually proven to have made me more money. Like, we have tracked it. There's a literal ROI to them being on my team. So when it comes to hiring, you need to feel instant relief, okay? You need that painkiller on your team. You don't want to feel like you took a chance and you're gonna suss it out, because I'm telling you, you will spend so much time managing that person and it's gonna drive you crazy. And then what's gonna happen is you're gonna fire that person, and instead of rehiring that person, you're gonna go through many months of saying, you know what, that didn't work out, I'm gonna do it myself, and then you're gonna feel burned out again, and then you're gonna finally hire someone else, and then you're gonna realize that you need to rehire that position, but you're gonna put that off for 1 or 2 or 3 more months because you don't have the time or the mental energy to dedicate to finding that candidate. And that specific feeling of always feeling like you need help, but you don't have the time to go and find that help, that has been a huge piece of my burnout. Trust me on this, as someone that just figured this out and learned all of this the hard way over the last couple of years. Okay, 5, no end in sight. A lot of people get into this, let's just say, a lot of people get into real estate, okay? We're gonna use that as an example. And they wanna build generational wealth, and they wanna quit their 9 to 5 and whatever. And then they start chasing unit after unit and door after door and building this thing. This is me, I'm not just you, I'm not just poo-pooing you, this is how I was. But there's no end goal or metric that I was working towards. I just knew that I wanted to be rich, to be wealthy. And so I'm just gonna keep buying. And so there's this nebulous idea over here of generational wealth, but I didn't have any kind of metric to this. And so for many years, really for the past 8, I've just been kind of grinding away. And there's days that I would kind of like think to myself, what am I doing all this for? Okay, generational wealth, but what does that even mean? So I kind of realized that I didn't have like literal definitions to the things that I was saying I wanted to do. So I've really started to kind of clamp down on this idea of what my end goal is. I haven't really figured it out exactly, but I have like a monthly amount of money that I want to make. I finally have that number. And it's actually less money that I've made in the past, because I realized that I don't want my life to be like chasing an absurd amount of money, because at a certain point, making more money doesn't actually change anything about your life, which I know is kind kind of a crazy concept, but I mean, at the end of the day, I sit at this desk every single day for 8 hours a day. No amount of money really changes the fact that I do that, and then I leave work, and then I go downstairs and hang out with my family, and then we cook dinner. And whether I make $100,000 a year or $20 million a year, I'm still cooking dinner that costs like $10 to $20 for my family. And so I've defined how much I want to make, and I've also defined what I want, which is to not work a lot so that I can hang out with my family. And so that to me is the end in sight, is how can I get to a point where I work 4 to 5 hours a day, make X amount of money so that I can hang out with my family and travel the world with them 3 or 4 times a year. And just those small parameters that I've set have given me so much vision for where I'm going to take my businesses and what I say yes to and what I say no to. I just got the news that my dad had a heart attack and he is in the hospital undergoing surgery. I'm about to go see him, but before I did, I wanted to say that there was more meant for this video, but the last thing I said was that most people don't have an end in sight. And I think I want to end there because let me tell you, that news puts things into perspective. And that perspective is that none of this matters. Yeah, I'm burned out. Yes, I have tough days. Yes, sometimes things don't go my way, but at the end of the day, I'd be more than happy to have those daily battles if I could have a healthy family. So that's where I'm going to end the video today. Go call your mom, call your dad, hug your kids tonight. Call an old friend that you miss. I promise you that at the end of the day, having your loved ones nearby is probably what's gonna cure burnout before anything else. Okay, love you guys. Bye.